Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to work on a garlic butter chicken bites recipe. And it's probably best that you use chicken breast for this. And right now, after I've cut the chicken breast, I took 2 large chicken breasts and I'm cutting them into like about 1-inch squares, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. And we're gonna pat them dry the best we can. So you can probably do this directly on your cutting board. It's best to try to get as much liquid off of them as possible. So it's not too difficult of a recipe. It's just a little bit of a, you gotta do a little bit extra work instead of just tossing them in a pan. But I'm not gonna go too crazy on the whole patting them dry. So do the best we can. So it may not be perfect, but we tried. So I am doubling just a little bit because this recipe only feeds like 3 or 4 people. If you go by the original, which was I think a little over a pound's worth of chicken breast. And if you get the large breast, they're about a pound, maybe a little more. So I'm kind of doubling it just a little. Not exactly, but close. Okay. So now that we've done all that, we need to sprinkle this with, I'm going to do 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to put in about 2 to 3, look at that, tablespoons, 2 to 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and then I'm just going to sprinkle on everything here. And yes, it's gonna make a mess, but I'm just gonna pat this on, and then we're gonna just flip these over, and then I'll clean this mess up, and then we'll move to the skillet because we've got to do some work in the skillet. And I'm probably gonna put some salt and pepper on this other side when we flip it over. Okay. And since I didn't use too much extra, the extra that I put in again was to double the recipe, we should be able to use all this flour on the chicken. And so I want to just kind of try to make sure that all the pieces are coated. And I guess it'd be best to do it on the cutting board if you've got a place or something like that. Or if you did this in a bowl, you would do it in batches, because you're supposed to make sure that each individual piece has gotten dusted with the flour mixture. And just try to do the best you can. We're not perfect, are we? So, all right, I think that's about it. Now I'm gonna clean this mess up, wash my hands, and then we're gonna move over to the skillet and get that ready to go. All right, I'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, y'all, so right now I've got some butter melting with a little bit of oil. And so I'm getting that ready to go. You need to make sure your pan's real coated really good. And I'm trying to make sure that it's not like super hot, but it's pretty warm before I add all this to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. I'm gonna do it one by one because I wanna make sure there's a single layer in here. And I'm hoping I can do it all in one batch. You want this on medium-high heat, and it shouldn't take long to cook. A few minutes on each side. Okay, so I thought I would have enough room, but no, I don't. So we're gonna try to get this to cook, and then flip it over, take it out, do the next batch, and then we'll go on with the rest of the recipe. Okay, y'all, so I ended up having to cook that in batches. Right now, I'm trying to make sure that the last little batch, I'm going to cook it for just a couple of more extra seconds before I add the rest of the recipe to this. It is called garlic butter chicken bites, so it would be best that you use minced garlic and real butter in this. You could get by with some garlic powder. So I don't want you to have to go and buy garlic clove just because. So I would say at least that way you get to try the recipe and you don't have to buy something special that you're probably never going to use. Or you can only use part of. Like I said, I doubled this recipe. I did have some garlic cloves in the fridge. I keep mine. I grew mine one year and then I peeled them all because I got tired of trying to peel as I went and them spoiling, stuff like that. So I went ahead and I peeled them all and I put them in a jar of vinegar in my fridge, and that's where they stay. And so that's why I have some on hand right now. But I think if you use some extra garlic powder, 1 clove is about equal to like a teaspoon, and you need at least 4 cloves for this. So you can just take that, you know, into account. There's lots of conversion charts and stuff like that online, so you can also check there. So this needs to cook for another minute, but I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my butter that I didn't add earlier. You are supposed to divide it. I'll try to remember to put the recipe in, that way you can see how that's divided in the recipe. And then you need to go ahead and add your garlic at this point. You're only going to do this for a minute. Keep in mind that you don't need your garlic to burn. And I've got to get some parsley, so I'll be right back. But I want to give this a good stir so that nothing burns. But I'm going to stay in here with my chicken while it finishes up, and this is on medium-high heat, but you just need to kind of keep up with it. So when you cook the chicken the very first time, you want it to cook 2 to 3 minutes on either side, and then on each side. And then this time at the end, we're only going to cook about a minute or so until our butter melts. And then the chicken's got to reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees. So I'm just going to let it sit here for a second. I'll get me some dried parsley because we need that. Now you can use fresh, but I cannot keep stuff like that because I don't use it that often. So Usually what I do is I split whatever it calls for in half, or a little bit less than half. So I just put about a teaspoon of parsley in, of dried parsley in. And that's it. Your chicken is ready. I'm going to let my chicken just kind of sit and hang out in this skillet for a little while after I've cut it off. That way I want to make sure it's done. But this I'm just going to put over a little bit of rice, and that's going to be dinner for my boys. Real easy and simple. And it easily can pass as like a gourmet type dinner, I think, in my opinion. But really, really simple, and it only takes very few ingredients. I had everything already on hand. So this was definitely a good pantry meal to add to my weekly rotation. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.